Today I want to talk about the father-daughter wound because for many women it touches every area of life. So I want to talk about why this work matters so much for women. You might ask, why spend all this time exploring something that happened a long time ago? Why revisit old stories, old hurts, old disappointments? And the answer I've come back to again and again is because knowledge is power. And it shifts our perspective, which can then create space for change and growth. For many women, it becomes woven into how we see ourselves, the way we experience love, the way we show up in our relationships, the way we relate to our children, the way we relate to men and masculine energy, and the way we trust others and ourselves. There's something I've witnessed through my own healing journey, through decades of astrology study, and through years of working with women, wives, and mothers, and families. The patterns may look different on the surface, but underneath them, I often find the same themes. And astrologically, Saturn often begins helping us uncover them. Because Saturn is connected to our experience of authority and responsibility, boundaries, self-respect, and often our relationship with father energy itself. So today I want to share 10 reasons why this discovery work is so important for women. The first is that our father is our first mirror of masculine love. Whether he was loving, distant, or present, supportive or critical, or just inconsistent, these experiences can become part of our understanding of what love feels like. And later in life, we can make choices in love that aren't supportive for us because we unconsciously attract what's familiar. And those early experiences became the imprint for that. Personally, being a child of divorce due to infidelity, I allowed the experience of that to build a labyrinth around my heart for a long time because I never wanted to experience that. Then one day I had a past life reading and he spoke of this labyrinth and said, if I didn't work on opening myself up, I might miss out on all the love I came here to experience. I'm so glad I did and did that work. The second reason is that father wounds can quietly influence the partners we choose. Without realizing it, many women find themselves recreating familiar scenarios and familiar relationship dynamics, like attracting emotionally unavailable partners or partners who are critical, controlling, hard to reach, or relationships where they feel like they constantly have to earn love and approval or attention. I've seen women repeatedly attract relationships that reflect unresolved dynamics from childhood. I know I've done it myself because that's what feels familiar and often feels safe even when it isn't healthy. The third reason is it affects how we receive love, praise, and support. Can you comfortably receive a compliment? Can you let someone help you? Can you receive without feeling like you have to earn it first? These are the questions that can often reveal more than we realize. The fourth reason is that it can impact our boundaries. Many women were taught, directly or indirectly, that being lovable meant being accommodating, being helpful or of service, easy, self-sacrificing. And while generosity is beautiful, constantly abandoning yourself is not. I know every wife and mother has struggles with this one, myself included. The fifth reason is that it shapes our relationship with responsibility and personal authority. This is the one place Saturn shows up most clearly. Sometimes the wound creates overachievers who carry the weight of the world, and sometimes it creates self-doubt and fear of stepping fully into leadership. And often it can create both at different times in life. Which do you resonate with? I definitely resonate with both. The sixth reason is that it can affect how safe we feel being soft and vulnerable and feminine. Many women learn that strength was valued, but emotional needs were not. So they become incredibly capable and hold all their feelings deep within. And underneath all that capability is a longing to finally feel supported and to be able to rest. The seventh reason is the unhealed wound often creates self-abandonment, second-guessing yourself, ignoring your intuition, talking yourself out of what you know is true, or choosing everyone else's needs over your own again and again. Any of you ladies resonate with this one? Raise your hand. The eighth reason is that it affects our relationship with masculine energy itself and men. So whether that shows up through our partners, bosses, authority figures, or even our relationship with structure and discipline, if masculine energy has felt unsafe, disappointing, controlling, or unreliable, it can become difficult to trust in later life. Trust issues play a large role in building inner authority because if we don't trust we won't be hurt or lose something when we stand in our authority, we won't do it. And when it comes to healthy relationships, if you don't have trust, it likely won't last, or it won't feel truly fulfilling, that's for sure. Trust issues is one of the number one things the father wound impact can instill. And that leads right into the ninth reason, which is that it influences our ability to create healthy, lasting relationships because secure love requires trust. It requires boundaries, it requires vulnerability, and it requires giving and receiving. And father wound healing often helps remove some of the barriers standing in the way of those experiences. And finally, the 10th reason is that this work helps us step into our healthy sovereignty. And in astrology, this is our sun. You can go back and listen to the video I did about the father wound and your sun. But this is where Saturn becomes less of a taskmaster and more of a wise elder, a guide, a teacher, a mentor, and reminds us that our worth isn't something we earn, that we can create safety within ourselves, and that we can become our own authority without losing everything we love too. And in my experience, that's where so much of this healing begins. Because instead of staying stuck in old stories, we can begin to understand how those experiences shaped us so we can consciously choose what comes next. Because I know from experience, when we do this work, beautiful things can happen. We develop self-worth that isn't dependent on achievement or approval or outside validation. We quiet the inner critic. We create healthier relationships across the board. We establish stronger boundaries. We trust ourselves more deeply. We find greater ease in both giving and receiving love. And we become more capable of creating conscious, lasting partnerships. And we connect with both our strength and our softness. And ultimately, we experience a deeper sense of wholeness. This is why I believe healing the father wound matters so much for women, because it helps us create a different future for ourselves, for our relationships, and for our children. And before I close, I want to share something personal. As I've been creating this series, I've been thinking a lot about my own father. His birthday is June 19th, and so some years his birthday would even fall on Father's Day. So this time of year naturally brings some special reflection for me. And while my father wasn't perfect, neither am I. Like all of us, he had his own story, his own wounds, his own lessons, and he made his own choices. And from my perspective, that's what makes this work so meaningful. Because healing the father wound isn't about putting our fathers on trial. It's not about deciding whether they were good or bad. It's about understanding the role they played in our lives and the impact those experiences had on us. Personally, I believe we choose our parents before we come into this life. I believe there are soul contracts and sacred lessons woven into the families we're born into. And that doesn't mean everything that happened was ideal. It doesn't even mean that every parent fulfilled their highest potential. We all have free will. We all make choices. We all make mistakes. We all have lessons we embrace and lessons we avoid. But looking back at my own journey, I can honestly say that I have gratitude for the role my father played in my life and in my story, because those experiences became part of the path that led me here. They shaped some of the questions I've spent my life exploring, and they influence the healing work I've committed to for myself. They've helped me become the woman, wife, mother, astrologer, and teacher I am today. And ultimately, I had choices too. I chose to embark on a healing journey. I chose to do the inner work. I chose to examine the patterns that were handed down through the generations. And I chose to work toward breaking cycles rather than repeating them. I chose to build a healthy marriage and I chose to create the most loving, secure, and conscious home I could for our son. And speaking of that journey, I also want to take a moment to acknowledge someone who has been an incredible part of it, my husband. He has been not only an amazing husband, father, and true partner, but one of my greatest supporters. He's always encouraged me to be fully myself. He has believed in me, supported my work, and stood beside me through all the seasons of growth and challenge, healing, and transformation. He's helped me know myself more honestly and more deeply, and in many ways, he's been an important part of my healing journey as well. I always say I love him to the moon and back, and I truly do. And I also believe he's one of the soul partners I was meant to share this life with. Someone who has walked beside me as we learn and grow and heal and build a life together. But ultimately, this work isn't just about healing wounds. It's about recognizing the people who helped shape us, the lessons that transformed us, the love that supported us, and the choices we make moving forward. So wherever you are on your own father wound journey, my hope is that this work helps you find greater understanding, greater compassion, and greater freedom, not only for your father, but for yourself. Because healing to me is about becoming more conscious in the present so we can create a different future. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I hope it's offered some food for thought to inspire you on your own healing journey and empowered you in stepping a little more fully into yourself, your relationships, and your own life. Take care and keep nurturing your astrology friends.